The Five Principles to Casual Conversation by Deanna Anderson. What is casual conversation? It is the informal conversation we engage in daily. It involves two or more people and is sometimes called chit chat or small talk, and it is usually unplanned. We engage in casual conversation when we're waiting in line at the cash register, in a doctor's waiting room, sometimes when we're mingling or networking at community or work-related events. It can happen on a first date, and it even occurs on social media, text messaging, or phone calls. Why is casual conversation important? Casual conversation is important to me in overcoming shyness. When I was younger, I was shy and awkward, and it was not until my mid-20s to late 30s that I started overcoming this barrier. The five principles that I've learned about in communications class are very helpful to me and were very interesting to help me continue on this progress. I want to overcome my shyness so that I can communicate effectively in casual conversation and also to build my network and social circle. I am working towards a more professional career and a professional degree with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication, and I feel it is important to have a good network and social circle. Also, I am naturally curious, as Alice says in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, curiouser and curiouser. I like to learn about other people's beliefs, traditions, hobbies, and experiences. So why do I think casual conversation should be important to you? To broaden your horizons. And this also helps us to not feel so alone in the world and helps us to learn open-mindedness and acceptance of diversity. Also, casual conversation can break the silence. No one wants an uncomfortable silence, and you may be the one that has to break that. You might make somebody feel more comfortable. You might help them through a situation by sharing your story, or you might just be the one bright spot in someone's bad day. Lastly, you need casual conversation to expand your network and social circle. Just as I might be a contact for you, you might be a contact for me. Now that we know we should engage in casual conversation, how do we begin? With the first principle of casual conversations, and that is introductions. This is literally a warm opening to engage in conversation. It can occur with a smile, a comment, or literally introducing yourself by name. An introduction may be accompanied by a handshake or a fist bump. Sometimes, if there is a mutual relationship or previous encounter, you can mention it such as, "I'm Sarah's friend," or "We met last month at the ABC conference." The second principle of casual conversation is to keep the conversation going. You can do this by asking questions. If this is a very first or new encounter, keep the question simple and non-invasive, such as, "What brings you to this event?" Or, "What is your profession?" As the friendship grows, you can start asking more in-depth questions like, "What are your hopes and dreams?" Sometimes the best conversationalist is the one who simply listens. You do not need to be an expert at conversations if you can listen. However, listening needs to be effective. Pay attention to the speaker by maintaining eye contact and interjecting a little feedback to show you are paying attention. There are numerous articles and texts where you can read up more on effective listening, and I highly recommend looking at some of these sources. The third principle of casual conversation is to reciprocate. No one wants a one-sided conversation or to do all the asking. As stated on the last slide, people generally like to talk about themselves. They just need a little encouragement. If someone asks you a question, return the favor. It is a good idea to stay on topic as much as possible or transition to a new topic easily and appropriately. Remember, speakers often ask questions about things they want to talk about. If someone says, "How is your family?" chances are they want you to ask the same question so that they can open up the topic to share something important to them, like good news, or even something sad like a tragedy. Remember, at some point it will be your turn in the conversation. This is the fourth principle of casual conversation. This means answering a question, sharing a story, or offering information or a disclosure of some kind. But remember, you only need to share what you are comfortable with. For example, instead of listing all of the problems your family has been suffering, you can state, We've gone through a rough patch, but things will get better. When it is your turn, there are a few tips to remember. Keep it short. No one wants to hear you talk for hours and hours. Keep it interesting and keep it appropriate. Disclosure with an acquaintance or a new friend will be different than with a friend you've known for years. To keep it appropriate, also consider the place and situation. Is this the right time or place to talk about highly personal topics? There are a lot of topics that you can engage in that are relatively safe, such as sports, a job, current news, anything going on in the city, or family events. The fifth principle of casual conversation is to stay aware and adapt. This means that you need to self-monitor, pay attention to what you say and what their response is by observing your recipient's verbal cues, like someone trying to leave the conversation or changing the subject, and also paying attention to nonverbal cues like facial expressions or eye contact. Assess how the conversation is going. Has it stayed in one topic too long? Is it getting dull? Is it one-sided? If so, it may be time either for you to interject your part of the conversation or stop talking and let someone else speak. If the conversation gets too personal, it might make the listener uncomfortable or it might trigger a sensitive topic. If necessary, it may be time to end the conversation. By introducing yourself, asking questions, and listening to answers, reciprocating a question for a question, sharing something when it's your turn, and staying aware and adapting by self-monitoring and analyzing your audience, you can increase your casual conversation and interpersonal communication skills. Thank you.